Welcome into the Stardom Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Stefen McKinney, joined as always by Ashton Mitchell and Jacob Stevens. How are you two doing today? Today?
I'm so ready. I'm so ready for this week. I'm ready to destroy you.
It's
gonna be
it. Talk coming out already.
Oh, absolutely. You've got Devontae Schmadams going right now, so I'm not really worried about that. He's not that good.
Right.
But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. How about you, Ashton?
I'm kind of just freaked out looking at Aaron Rodgers without his beard right now.
They lost last week.
Did they?
Last week they lost?
Yes, they did. Yeah.
There you go.
So he shaved it, and a new day. I don't like it.
Another day, another beard.
Freaks me out. All right. Other than that, yeah, I'm doing okay. Hanging in there.
Everything else is great. Just that beard.
It's just the beard. Out of all the things going on in the world.
I'd ask you, Stefen, but I don't care. Let's go on.
It's understandable. So today we're going to be talking ins and outs. Who's going to make it on the field this week? We can do a couple listener lineup questions as well as a listener trade question. And then we'll do the second half of matchups for the week, and we'll finish it off with the starts and sits of the week. Jam-packed show here. You guys just want to jump right into it?
I would love nothing more than that.
All righty. News around the bend is that, Ashton, you're going to be taking the lead on these injuries today. So I'm going to lead you off with a couple of them here, and you let me know.
Boom.
All right. Christian McCaffrey, what's the word on the streets?
Rule believes he will play bearing any setbacks this week, which we haven't seen any so far. So if everything comes out clear tomorrow, he should be good to go.
I like the sound of that. What about Matt Breida? People are thinking he might be the guy now the Gaskin's out.
Still dealing with the hamstring injury. Looks like it's trending in the wrong direction, but still has a slight chance to play.
Okay. Do you play Jordan Howard if Matt Breida doesn't play?
Ooh, do you? That's a gamble, but you know,
who
do what
else?
you got to do.
At that point, who else?
I think his name is Patrick Laird.
Oh yeah, Laird will probably. Yeah, I think he'd probably take the lion's share, and Howard will just have the goal line again. Maybe he won't be he won't be a healthy scratch. Yeah, he'll get a couple yards, maybe one touchdown.
What about Michael Thomas?
Limited practice both days. We've seen this before. If we've learned anything about Michael Thomas this year, it's always a game time decision. So looks like it'll be the same case this week.
He better play this week.
You get your hopes up for like the last 3 or 4 weeks, and it's just like
my hopes are always high. I'm a positive guy.
And this is only like your second week dealing with it after the trade. I've been dealing with this for all 9 weeks so far, or 8 weeks, I guess, since he missed the first one. He got injured in the first one.
Who's been a bigger disappointment injury wise this week? I mean, this year, Michael Thomas. Who's another top injury?
Christian McCaffrey.
CMC,
but I mean, at least Christian McCaffrey, you knew he was out. Like they put him on.
Yeah.
Like Michael Thomas is like, yeah, I'm going to play, and then you get to the game and he's like, no, never mind.
Less gray hairs with CMC, but I think it's more value you lost by drafting him. I don't think. I mean, if you drafted Michael Thomas in the first round, I don't know. I guess you're.
CMC's also not.
I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but we'll go on. Next guy. Who else is injured?
About Calvin Ridley.
Has yet to practice this week. Still dealing with the foot injury, likely to miss, but still has a chance. We'll wait and see how tomorrow unfolds.
Mark Ingram
hasn't practiced in nearly 3 weeks. Expect him to miss this week as well.
Tim Patrick.
Limited practice both days. Looks like it's going to be a game time decision, but most likely to play.
I heard Matt Stafford showed up on the COVID list, so we're not going to see Matt Stafford this week.
Doesn't look like it. Yeah, I mean,
what? I heard a little something different about that.
Oh, what'd you hear? You got that hot? You got that hot news?
I heard he wasn't in close he was close contact with somebody, but if he tests right, he's going to be able to play. But still, the league is trying to be smart about it and not risk it. So we will see.
Good to know.
It says I'm reading the news here. It says
Don't worry about the news. Just keep going. Let's go.
because he was already placed on the COVID list.
Yeah,
he won't be
but he can
eligible
come
to
off
play.
of it though.
No, he won't be eligible to be activated this week.
I don't believe it.
I mean, this is straight from ESPN.
They don't know.
I was listening to Fox News.
Oh, that's fake news. Fake Fox News is what they said. What about Jonathan Taylor?
He should be good to go. See him coming back this week.
Do you want to play him though?
We'll dive into that later.
What about T.Y. Hilton?
Still dealing with a groin injury. More than likely leaning towards playing, but I mean, do you really want to lean that way anyways?
Does it really matter with T.Y.?
Yeah.
What's the news with Julian Edelman?
He had a preventative knee surgery, if that's a thing.
And get to that age, man.
Like, what is that?
So I think they were concerned about more long-term. Basically, they looked at his career unfolding this year and said,
"Here, look, we're gonna get you an excuse. This is it.
You're not trending in the right direction right now for your contract. Let's just call it a season."
I did read something about that. Apparently, what was really going on was in his knee. He was having bone-to-bone contact. So it was just super uncomfortable for him.
Bone to bone. Yeah.
No bones, man.
no cartilage.
It's just bones, man.
you run out of cartilage one day anyway. So there you go.
Yeah. So he's not playing. Who do you got next?
Yeah, I think with Edelman though, he's with the IR. He's going to miss at least 3 weeks. So I mean, at this point, you're safe to drop him, right? Like you don't need Julian Edelman on your team anymore.
You do
Yeah,
not.
it'll be the same outcome as if he was here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about Devonta Freeman?
Limited practice, dealing with the ankle injury. It's going to be a game time decision.
Chris Carson
won't practice until tomorrow. Keep an eye on him and look at the practice report in the afternoon.
I could guarantee that he's going to play this week.
And you've been talking to his agent.
No, I've been talking to him directly.
Oh,
I've been sliding into his DMs.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. Ashton knows. He knows how I work.
And lastly, what about Chris Godwin?
Limited practice both days this week. We'll catch passes for the first time tomorrow. So see how the report looks in the afternoon tomorrow. But should be okay.
It's going to be some muddy waters in the receiver room if all 3 of them are go. But that wraps up our ins and outs of the week. I don't know if you guys can think of any more off the top of your head, but those were all the relevant ones that came to mind. Let's jump right into the listener lineup questions. We got 4 on the docket today.
Guys, wait a second. Hold the phone.
Okay, sorry.
I just got a live trade offer from one of our listeners, Bryce Balabuch.
Wow.
One of our he sends a lot of questions in on the reg, normally on the weekend. They don't make them on the show. He said, should I accept this trade? Julio and Devontae Parker for Calvin Ridley, who he has.
Is this half point? Is this standard? Is it what's his record looking like? Just give me some basics here.
He's 5-3.
Okay, sounds good.
And that's all I know.
Okay. Let's just assume it's a half point situation here. What's y'all's take on that?
I mean,
I need to see more of Tua, but at the same time, like I know trade deadlines are coming up. I mean, how much more value do you see with Ridley than Julio is the real question. Because you don't know what you're going to get from Devontae Parker yet. But I don't know. I mean, I'd probably take it. I don't know. Ridley, his foot's falling off or whatever. I mean, what's up with that? You know what I mean? What do you guys think here?
I'd be okay with that trade. I mean, Julio seems to be in better shape now than he was a few weeks ago. So if he's in rhythm, he's staying healthy. I think that's a fine trade.
Yeah, I think it's kind of flip-flopped where Julio was the one trending in the wrong direction at the start of the year with the injuries, and Ridley was on fire. I mean, Ridley's been great every time he's good to go, but looks like he's the one trending in the wrong direction now. So, I mean, I think you take the healthy one. Obviously, Julio's been great when he's been playing. So, if you get Julio and then you get Devontae Parker on top, and you have the possibility that Parker gets it going with Tua, I mean, you're getting even more value. So I'd probably go Julio and Parker there.
Yeah, you have a bigger ceiling with Julio and Devontae Parker than just Ridley.
2 startable options.
Yeah.
And really Julio and Ridley are, kind of a coin flip. So
the Julio Ridley thing can change on a weekly basis, though. Let's not fool ourselves. I mean,
yeah, but even when both of them play, like they're both great. Like,
yeah,
I don't think one is clearly above the other.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh,
you're welcome.
All right, back to our listener line of questions here. Thanks for that question though. The first one's in a standard league. We got Justin Jackson taking on the Raiders, DJ Moore against the Kansas City Chiefs, and then DJ Chark against the Texans. Who you guys kind of leaning towards as a flex option there?
I think I gotta lean Justin Jackson, man. DJ Chark is the lowest on this totem pole here, mainly because he's going to have a rookie QB that has never taken a snap in the NFL, I'm pretty sure. So that will scare you. Doesn't matter what the matchup is. DJ Moore playing against Kansas City, top 5-ish, I think, against wide receivers in the league. And Justin Jackson's got a pretty easy matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders. I think I'd take Jackson. I think it'd be that order. Jackson, Moore, Chark.
I agree. Chark has been a pretty banger disappointment for me this past few weeks. I mean, obviously we talked about that a little bit on
that broken thumb, though. Remember?
Right,
it was like
this
guy quarterback as well.
Yeah, it was like that, and he was trying to grab the ball, and it was like this.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation, but I mean, we don't know how Chark's going to play this week, but we've seen DJ Moore's performance over the past few weeks, and it's been kind of what you expected. But Jackson's kind of picked up the pace and seems to be the lead back in that backfield. So I would lean Jackson more than Chark for this week. Yeah,
I agree. I think Justin Jackson's your safest play here. I mean, he had a really bad matchup last week against Denver, and we were worried that Joshua Kelly might start eating into some of those snaps. But Justin Jackson had 20 touches on the day and 140 or so all-purpose yards. Didn't find the end zone, but I mean that's great. Like, if you can get that kind of production of someone that you found on the waiver wire, like Justin Jackson in a favorable matchup should be the best option there. All right, the next question we have, it's a quarterback question here. Looks like we're choosing between some lower on the totem pole options. Cam Newton against the Jets, Derek Carr against the Chargers, or Drew Lock against the Falcons.
Who sent this one in?
This is my question. Yeah, I lost.
Okay, on to the next one.
I'm interested on y'all's take here because I think there's potential in all of them. I think the least talent is coming out of Drew Lock, and he scares me the most. But he has a beautiful matchup with the Falcons. Cam Newton has looked like crap, but he's playing the Jets. And then Derek Carr can give you good games, and then he can just be nothing, So, what do you guys think?
I would put Derek Carr at the top here. I just think he has a favorable matchup against the Chargers. He's kind of picked up his pace and been steady. I'll dive into him a little bit later, but I think
you will.
Yes. So Cam's tough because he's been struggling over the past few years. His passing game has been pretty rough. He's not as mobile as you would like to see him be. But I kind of feel like if he has a bounce back game, it would be this week. But I mean, who are his passing options right now? I mean,
Kobe Myers.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about that whole situation in New England right now. And Drew Lock, I mean, I'm not a huge Drew Lock fan, but he's a decent sleeper this week against
he had a good game last week.
Yeah, against a really bad defense in Atlanta. So I might lean Carr, Drew Lock, and then Cam this week.
So here, look at this. So think about what we just said. So Locke played the Chargers last week and put up 20 points, and he's been pretty not good this week. And Derek
This year,
Carr's playing the Chargers.
Yeah, but Drew Lock is playing the Falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd lean Derek Carr here.
See, the only thing with Derek Carr, I mean, because Derek Carr was plugged into my lineup originally, and when you look at kind of his season as a whole, he's been just pretty meh, like he never gives you that great game. He never gives you that like big, huge 25-point explosion.
Look here, bud. With these options, I don't think you're going to get a great game, okay?
Yeah, but I think the biggest ceiling you have is Cam Newton, right? Like,
well, it's always that because he's got the rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, he's going to get he had a 34-point game in week 2. He had a 25-point game in week 1.
But it's just all gone downhill since then, and that's what and obviously that's probably your concern too. It's like, what has he done?
Why not take the
what have you done for me lately? That's what most people care about.
Cam has also been in games this year when he's been benched because of his performance. I mean, so I don't know. I think Cam actually probably has the lowest floor in this week.
But can anybody get benched against the Jets?
Cam might.
No, that is impossible. That is literally.
I don't know. Cam might. If they continue to bomb this week against the Jets, I wouldn't be surprised if they pull Cam.
I don't
it
think
would
that's
be
possible.
between. Oh man, I mean, they're none of them. I don't think could end up being less than 15 points. I don't think I could see that happening for many of them. I don't know who's going to be the highest above that. Cam is the scariest, I think, honestly, because he has no receiving options.
Really bad this year, and I wouldn't be shocked if Jets defense was a top 10, top 12 play this week.
Oh, wow.
Bold take. All right. Well, I moved Derek Carr into my starting lineup, just FYI. So
there you go.
Good job.
There you go.
And what league was that in?
That was in the main league.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not playing you guys this week, so it's okay to answer the question.
And you're playing me in Dynasty, so I was worried for a second.
This is when Cam goes off, gets 36 points.
No. Okay. So next we got a half-point PPR situation here. It looks like this is another flex question. J.K. Dobbins taking on the Colts, Le'Veon Bell against the Panthers, or Devonta Parker against the Cardinals.
Y'all go ahead. Speak up. Speak loud. Your boy is listening.
I think Bell has the best matchup, but I don't think he's going to
get enough touches.
Out carry Lair this week. Carolina's not great against.
Hilarious.
I just don't think he's going to out-touch Alaire this week. But I think he has the best matchup. I mean, Dobbins against Indiana. I mean, Indianapolis, that's going to be rough. I would maybe lean Parker, Bell, and then Dobbins.
Oh, wow. I think I'd actually reverse it. I know the matchup for Dobbins is the scariest, but I think Dobbins has the most opportunity, where I think Parker scares me the most just because what we've seen in limited capacity with Tua last week, he had his first full start, and they passed for 93 yards. I mean, Parker got the one catch for the touchdown, but I mean, if your quarterback's only throwing 93 yards, it's hard to have a wide receiver option that you trust. Le'Veon Bell, I mean, Carolina's rush defense isn't scary, so you can see him maybe getting more involved and
punch one in.
Yeah, I mean, he can get more touches in week 3. He can get more used to this offense here. But even though it's a terrible matchup for Dobbins with the Colts, I expect Mark Ingram to miss, and Dobbins looked fantastic last week. So against another tough matchup in Pittsburgh. So I think I'd go Dobbins just based on the opportunity.
So you go Dobbins, then Parker? Bell, then Parker?
Yeah, okay. Parker I think is just scary with the amount of yards they're passing for right now.
All right.
Yeah, that's the biggest question mark, I think, is Tua. What is Tua going to do? You know what I mean?
I mean, they won. I mean, the defense is carrying them. I know that the running back situation is a little murky now, but they're going to have to move the ball some way. So, I mean, I could see the argument for Parker as well. All right. And then the last one here. And you'll understand the question once you see the matchups, Pierre. But we got half-point PPR situation. You might not even have to answer this question if Michael Thomas misses again. But we got Michael Thomas hopefully returning against Tampa Bay, or Juju Smith-Schuster against the Cowboys. Half-point PPR.
Michael Thomas all day. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
He's missed what, 7 weeks straight. You got a
Not
tough
worried.
matchup with Tampa Bay,
I'm not concerned.
or you got Juju against the Cowboys.
I saw what the Giants did against Tampa Bay this past Monday. Short week, you know what I mean?
That's fair.
This is a little tough for me. I think Juju's probably. I think this could be a good week for Claypool against Dallas. But I mean,
I think Dallas is
going
to shut down everyone. Honestly, that's
Defense is coming to play.
What Kool-Aid are you drinking?
Good stuff.
I mean, but any of those, I mean, Deontay Johnson, Juju, Chase, they all are an option against this horrible Dallas.
Let's keep going.
But I mean, Tampa Bay's tough, man. I don't know. But it's Michael Thomas. I think if you have him, he's playing. You got to start him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, this is actually another one of my questions. But
of course it is.
Juju's been picking it up the last 2 weeks, and this is a great matchup. But I think I'm still going to go Thomas just because even though this is a great matchup for Juju, I mean, the Steelers should probably get up quick, and I don't know how long they just continue to throw the ball. So I think I'm still going to go Michael Thomas here. And then the last question we have is actually a trade question rather than a lineup question. I don't know if you want to break down the lineups once we go through the trade, Jacob, but the question at face value is DeAndre Swift straight up for Chase Claypool. This is redraft, right?
Yes, redraft.
Redraft league. Is this half point?
I have no idea.
See, I think the half point thing. I think
it is. I'm pretty sure it is. Now that I'm looking at the projections.
Yeah, I think if it's half point, it actually kind of makes a difference in this one, just because what we see with Claypool this year, he's a big play guy, and he can give you those huge plays, which is super beneficial and standard. But Swift should be getting more touches, and it looks like he's going to be the guy for the second half of the season and maybe make a big playoff push for you. And we always say that we value running backs higher than we do wide receivers, but I think this one
do. You normally don't, but I do.
Go either way. I mean, I think they're both pretty equivalent in terms of their value at running back and wide receiver. But I think I go Swift for consistency purposes only.
Yep, samesies. I know which way Ashton's going to go, so go ahead, Ashton. Go your way. That's okay. Let's do it, buddy.
Swift screwed me this past week. I mean, I picked him up in a trade, and I played him
too.
And I mean,
didn't Claypool screw you 2 weeks ago though?
I mean, but I expected
fantasy football.
My ceiling wasn't as high on Claypool as it would have been on Swift.
You told me that you would trade Allen Robinson for Chase Claypool. Your ceiling is very high for Chase Claypool.
I mean, it just depends on the wind, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I got stoked on Swift, especially after
the
Jacksonville.
buy and everything.
Yeah, and I was really hyped that they were gonna continue the run this week against Indianapolis. They like abandoned the run game the second half, and he only got 6 carries for 1 yard. I mean, I know it's the Colt.
I know the pass offense was getting it going.
I know. Well, shocker, right? I mean, it's just they haven't had a great passing offense for the most of the season so far, and all of a sudden, it's just I don't know. It just never. I don't know. Swift is a safe play, I think. I mean, he's obviously getting more carries moving forward, but that was a tough matchup in week 8, so it looks like he'll clear out for the next 4 weeks. He's got Minnesota, Washington. Well, Washington might be tough. Carolina, and then Houston. So Swift could be a good pickup, but Claypool, I mean, imagine if Deontay Johnson goes out again. I mean, he's already been injured a few times, and then Claypool's value boosts up tenfold. So I don't know. You just have to measure the possibility of the ceilings there, but
and based on
if you want more consistency, I'd lean Swift.
Fair. All right. Well, that does it for our listener questions of the week. As always, if you have any lineup questions, make sure you send them over to us on any of our socials. And as Jacob said, like we answer them directly right back to you in messages. We bring them onto the show and answer them live. So We're happy to help if you guys have any tough lineup questions that you'd like answered. But let's jump into the second half of our Week 9 matchups. We went through the first half back on Tuesday's show. So if you don't hear your matchup here, make sure to check out our last episode.
Go there.
The first one we have to jump right into it is the Denver Broncos taking on the Atlanta Falcons. As part of our lineup questions earlier with the Drew Lock question. But let's start on the Denver side. We talked about our expectations there with Drew Lock a little bit. He should be safe to get you 15 points, but his ceiling is really relatively capped just based on what that Denver offense is doing in terms of passing. You have to have the questions with Tim Patrick, who's been a good option, possibly to miss. He's still questionable. We don't know what that status is going to look like yet. But what about some of these other options? How do you view the backfield here with Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay this week?
For me, I would only start. I'd probably start Gordon. Lindsay's been good past 2 weeks, but I think he's had 9 carries in both games or 9 touches. And Atlanta, and it's been weird. Lindsay's been kind of the first and second down back, and Gordon's been kind of in the passing downs and getting the passing work, and that's where Atlanta's actually worse at is allowing running backs, receiving running backs to score points. So Gordon would be, I think Gordon and Fant. Jerry Judy's been so up and down this season. KJ Hamler's out there. Deshaun Hamilton is healthy. They've got a decent core. It just doesn't seem like there's a clear number one. So I'm kind of I'm a little scared. So I think Gordon and Fant are my guarantees, and then after that, I'm just I think Judy. Okay, I'd say Judy, but outside of that, I don't know who I'd get too excited about.
I think if Lindsay was dealing with a foot injury, I don't think it was a serious injury. Obviously, he was practicing today. It was a little limited, but if that still comes up as a question mark or concern for him this weekend, then I'd keep an eye on that. He's probably still going to play, but his role in the rushing game might be a little limited. Gordon is more pass relevant. So, but if Lindsay takes a hit or, has a limited role, then Gordon's obviously going to increase his value there. So keep an eye on that running back situation. I think Lindsay the past few weeks has looked really good, very explosive out of the line. I was pretty pleased with his performance over the past few weeks, but
that put his toe back on. Remember, he had that turf toe.
Yeah.
He reattached it.
He got that thing right back on there. So I don't know. I mean, it could go either way, but I'd keep an eye on Lindsay's foot and see how that comes out this weekend, and then kind of make that decision. But Gordon could also have a pretty good game this week, so I think you'd be safe rolling either way if they're both healthy. So
that's fair. Yeah, I think this is actually the Jerry Judy breakout week. I think this is the week that
I'm calling for it.
Yeah, this is a 100+ yard game. This is going to be his first one in his career. This should be great. This is what you're looking for out of Jerry Judy. With Tim Patrick banged up, you got some of those other guys, and the young guys with KJ Hamler and Deshaun Hamilton. But Jerry Judy looks like they're getting him more acquainted with the offense. He had 10 targets last week. But looked pretty good. I mean, he was 4 for 73. So if Drew Lock can get it going against this bad secondary, I think he hooks up with Jerry Judy and gets some big plays. So I think Jerry Judy's a fine flex play this week. But let's jump over to the Atlanta side of the ball. A little tougher matchup on the ground. You guys still confident in Gurley? I mean, he's fine in the end zone every week at this point. So how do you feel with Gurley against this tougher Denver matchup for running backs?
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Watching the game last week, it was Thursday. He disappeared for a while. It was really weird. Even the announcers were asking where the heck he was, and I was wondering where the heck he was. And Brian Hill, man, he's just so you see them both run, and Brian Hill is just so explosive and just looks a lot better. But then it's like, okay, Gurley, he's got a nose for the end zone. That's just what he does. He does it even when he's not supposed to. Exactly. But this game, Denver, I've been every time we've talked about anybody playing Denver, I've been very weary of starting a running back against them, and it is the same this week. And I might talk about that later with the girl man.
We're kind of seeing that trend where Brian Hill is becoming more of the workhorse, and then Gurley is getting the goal line work, and it's steadily increasing in each game. It's a little concerning, and I think it's just their strategy. I think they're trying to control and prohibit injury to Gurley and his knee, and having to, prevent the overuse of his time on the
his
field.
Bum knee. Yeah,
right.
I get it.
So I mean, I don't know if it's more of just a management approach to that, or if it's performance, or both. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Jacob. Hill looks 100% more explosive. So that's a little bit of a concern. But until Gurley stops scoring touchdowns in every game, I'm still.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's leading the
with him.
league in touchdowns for running backs. And I just looked at it, and Gurley had 18 carries and did not see a lot of action in the second half last week. And he averaged 2.6 yards per carry, where Brian Hill, I think he had 11 touches.
55 yards,
Yep.
For 55 yards. So
yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys that Brian Hill's getting a little bit more involved. I mean, I wouldn't say that he's taking the backfield from Gurley. I mean, you still see the carries for Gurley. I mean, he's getting plenty of work. 18 carries, 23 carries, 20 carries over the last 3 weeks.
He gets the carries. He just
and I mean, he's not being super.
He's not super efficient,
averaging
but he's gonna get touchdowns, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah, I mean, he's still the guy that they're gonna lean on. I mean, you're not considering playing Brian Hill is the point. So Todd Gurley, I mean, I don't think you said him just because he keeps finding that zone. He's been absolutely great. He's the running back 6, half-point, running back 4, and standard. You continue to throw him in there. But let's get to this wide receiver situation real quick. Obviously, we don't know the status of Calvin Ridley. So my question is, you're playing Julio, but Russell Gage, if Calvin Ridley is out, do you consider Russell Gage a flex option against Denver?
In deeper leagues, I mean,
in deeper leagues, I'm not excited about that one. He hasn't done much unless everybody's on the field, and he really hasn't done much since the beginning of the season. This past week against Carolina, it was kind of a rainy game, and they've been a little bit better recently. He only had 3 targets. Week before against Detroit, an easier matchup, had 8.4, not bad, and 7 targets, and that's a good amount of targets. This isn't a great matchup if AJ Boye is going to be out there. I guess on Julio though, so I don't love it. But I wouldn't say you can't start him.
I do want to take a quick second here to tell you that MVS just scored another touchdown.
Good for him.
Didn't I just say Tuesday that I gave up on MVS?
That's what he does. He gives you 0-point games, and then he just gives you like 3 touchdown games.
And it was a face mask too.
All I know is
whatever.
I don't care as long as Devontae Adams or Aaron Jones don't catch those balls. And thank you, MVS.
Good job, MVS. All right, let's move on to the next matchup here. I think you're starting the rest of those guys for Atlanta.
Correct.
Let's move on to the next matchup. We got the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the LA Chargers. I think this is a great matchup for fantasy kind of all around. But let's start on the Las Vegas side of the ball. Outside of the obvious, outside of Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller, who are some other guys you're looking at in this matchup?
Hunter Renfrow could have a decent game this week.
I think Henry Ruggs I think he's got the chance to have a big game. Like Stefen said, this is gonna be a good matchup for fantasy in general. The Chargers, they've had just as many defensive injuries as any team in the league coming into the season. So they're they've been letting up a little bit more points than we expected, I'd say. So I think Henry Ruggs might catch a little touchdown or something like that. Score a few points. Hunter Renfrow is a little sketchier for me, but I could see it happening.
Yeah, I mean, last week, I mean, the weather was just really bad. It was a rough game.
It was a little windy.
Yeah, so I mean,
the wind was blowing.
But with the Chargers trading their cornerback Desmond King, I think this could open up things a little bit on the passing game for the Raiders. You could see Nelson Aguilar have a decent game. Hunter Renfrow could probably open up. I mean, he has. How
do you order those wide receivers? Ruggs, Renfrow, and Aguilar.
Aguilar, Ruggs, and then Renfrow.
Aguilar number 1.
Yeah, he's been getting more targets.
Damn.
You got to base it on volume. I mean, he's seen more targets.
Seen more butts.
Ruggs, I should have had a touchdown last week, but they couldn't reel it in.
And I think Aguilar was supposed to have another one or something, right?
Yeah.
Or he was supposed to have one too.
Well, Ruggs had one, but couldn't reel it in, control the ball, and I don't think he.
It was the wind.
Yeah,
it was the wind. That's what they told everybody. So.
But yeah, I'd put Aguilar, Ruggs, and then Renfrow.
Stefen, your thoughts?
I think they're all equal. Like they can all,
they can go either way. Whoever catches the touchdown.
None of them get a ton of targets, so I don't think there's a clear number one here. Renfrow probably has the lowest ceiling, just because Ruggs is obviously the big play, stretch the field guy. Hunter Renfrow is super quick though, but Nelson Aguilar's been catching some bomb touchdowns, but his limited targets outside of one game. And the question mark here is Bryan Edwards should kind of return this week and maybe be more involved than we expect. I mean, I don't think he's someone that you're considering playing, but he could eat into one of these guys' targets. So
Bryan Edwards is a good guy to have if you're in a dynasty league and you want some potential talent and receiving core down the road. I think he's going to be someone to look and hold on to dynasty wise. But redraft this year, probably not bringing any value.
Yep. And then we talked a little bit about Derek Carr earlier in the lineup questions, but you guys like Derek Carr in this matchup?
I liked him of the options that you gave me, but yes, he should be a decent start this week.
Fair. All right, let's move over to the Chargers side of the ball. Justin Herbert's been lighting it up. We talked about Justin Jackson in our lineup questions as well. Where are we at with Joshua Kelly? Is he still in considerations as an option and flex for fantasy or not for you
me
anymore?
Not for me. I'll pass on that.
Yeah, no, I'm not considering him in flex. You have other options to bring you better value there.
Yeah, I agree. I think he hasn't
he hasn't proven himself.
He's still
getting a decent amount of touches.
He just isn't giving you those big plays that you were hoping for. But what about some of these other guys? I think that the big question is Mike Williams. He looked great last week. Got the touchdown, but what do you kind of expect his role to be in this offense? Obviously, he's going to be the number 2 to Keenan Allen, but do you expect him to have big games and the disappointing games, or do you kind of see some consistency now that we see Justin Herbert looking good every week?
I think he's more of a flex play. But yeah, I mean, he gave you 18.5 points this week against Denver. 5 receptions, 99 yards. So, and a touchdown. I think he's a good receiver. But obviously Keenan's going to take the main slot there.
Yeah.
But Herbert's been lighting it up so much, and he is throwing the ball so much. I mean, you can't help but say there's value in Mike Williams this year.
Yeah. So what I'm looking at here, it looks like an every other week kind of thing for him. That's basically what I'm seeing here. I had him before the bye. He was on my bench. He went off and popped off for a little 25 pointer, doing his thing. And then he came back and had Jacksonville. You'd consider that a decent matchup. And then he just basically pooped his pants, and it was very disappointing. And then this past week, he popped off. He's got another good matchup this week. I think he's a decent play. I think I agree with Ashton. He's a flex play for me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think you see it when you watch the Chargers play. Like Keenan Allen is a target monster. Like he has those short and intermediate routes. Like he's going to get you a ton of yards, a ton of catches. But the big play ability is all Mike Williams. I mean, he was drafted like I think number 6 overall, and was expected to be like the next Calvin Johnson. Like expected to be that guy you can just throw the ball up to and he'll jump over everybody and give you those big plays. And we've seen glimpses of that. We've seen flashes of that. But he's
7th overall.
He's been banged up most of his career, but I think now that we're seeing the emergence of Justin Herbert, and when they're looking to stretch the field, like Mike Williams is the guy that they're going to. So I think this is a matchup that, again, you can plug Mike Williams in and expect to have a big play or two. Let's jump over to the next matchup. We got the Miami Dolphins taking on the Arizona Cardinals. We'll start on the Dolphins side because I think the options are a little bleaker. We've seen now 1 week of Tua, so we kind of have a little bit more of a gauge of what this offense is going to look like. We said that Gaskin is out. We're expecting Breida to possibly miss. So this backfield is going to be a mess with Jordan Howard and Patrick Laird most likely kind of splitting those reps. Are either of those guys possible options for you, or are you best to avoid?
I don't understand this offense yet. I don't think anybody does. Last week we saw Tua come in, and the defense put the team on their back though. So it's hard to really gauge what it's going to look like. I mean, Arizona is kind of middle of the pack against the run. So Patrick Laird, we haven't seen him all year. I don't know if he's had a carry this year. So you're looking at Jordan Howard, who's been a healthy scratch for 2 or 3 weeks in a row. If anything, he's gonna maybe get a touchdown. I don't know. Maybe he's been practicing that in the past 3 weeks because he was pretty good at it beforehand. I'm not interested. No, thank you. I don't really want any of the Miami. I don't want anything on Miami this week. If anything, maybe Gesicki for safety valve for Tua, but that's desperation for me.
Yeah, this is a tough matchup against a pretty decent Arizona defense. I'm out on the Miami backfield for this week. Tua and Parker could surprise me. I really like Tua. I think he's
he's got to find his way, man. He's got to find his way.
Yeah, but this is only his second NFL start,
Exactly.
and this is a tough defense. So I would find other options if you can for this week. Yeah, I'm not really riding that train.
Just for entertainment purposes here, and maybe for some deeper leagues, maybe a 15-man league, 20-man league.
Oh wow, there you go. Okay.
Let's say Breida does play, and we have the trio of Breida, Howard, and Laird. How would you break those down 1, 2, 3 for someone that maybe has to play one of them in a desperation play?
The injury worries me with Breida because if he wasn't injured, I'd say Breida, Howard, Laird. If not, I'd say if he's playing but injured, I'd probably say Breida, Howard, Laird. Yeah, so I'm not changing that. It'd be close between Howard and Breida, but if both those guys are playing, Laird is just see ya.
Yeah, if Breida practices tomorrow and he's good to go, then yeah, Breida, Howard, then Laird. But
also, who are we entertaining with that? What kind of entertainment is that supposed to be?
15-man leagues, 20-man leagues, 50-man leagues.
Okay, okay, that's fair. I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just
not happy about any of them.
It's a thin stretch for all of them.
Sure.
The real
All right.
question is, how do you feel about the Arizona side? The Miami defense
Yeah.
it's been shutting people down.
Defense
What they
is a
did to the
real deal.
Rams last week was crazy to me. I mean, that was just beautiful on their part. I was really proud of them. I was happy for them, and I could just see them flowing through the ocean. You know what I mean?
With the way Christian Kirk's been playing, do you think they have a tougher matchup this week with Hopkins and Kirk versus Woods and Cup last week?
I think Hopkins is always going to be tougher than a lot of people in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's still going to get his this week. I think Kirk's off to the wayside for me facing this defense. But I am very excited about Chase Edmonds this week. Very excited about him. And I think Kyler should be fine just because he's always got his rushing floor. But this Miami defense isn't just some defenses just walk all over. You can't, they push you back down on the floor. Yeah,
this defense has been one of the bigger surprises. Miami in general has been one of the bigger surprises. They tend to eke out some wins here and there, but what we see with Miami's defense really is the big plays. Like they'll get the pick sixes, they'll force turnovers, but they do give up points to running backs and wide receivers. But yeah, I mean they do force you to make some bad plays and some mistakes. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. But we said we like Chase Edmonds. We obviously like DeAndre Hopkins. We like Kyler Murray, or Christian Kirk, or Andy Isabella, Larry Fitzgerald. Any of those guys in your considerations or no?
Nope.
I mean, I said, yeah, Christian Kirk could be a possible flex play this week.
Yeah, Christian Kirk would be the only other one I would consider, but I'm not excited about the prospects of that.
He's got 2 touchdowns last week, 2 touchdowns the week before. So
yeah, you got to ride the hot hand sometimes.
Luck's got to run out sometimes. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Debbie Downer.
Yeah, you got to look at both sides. Okay. I'm scared of Miami's defense. I don't know what it is. They're scary.
That's fair. All right, let's move on to the next matchup. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the red-hot Dallas Cowboys.
You son of a gun.
Let's start with Pittsburgh. Is there anybody you don't play?
No. I mean, no. I mean, Ben, you could look at Ben 2 ways. You could say, look, he's just going to air it out and just pure domination against Dallas. Or you can say Dallas's offense is so bad, Pittsburgh's defense is going to do all the work, and Ben won't have to do that much. So it could fold either way, I think. Or maybe a third option would be
upset of the week. I totally agree.
Well, no. Let's come back down to earth here. Pittsburgh's defense still dominates, and Ben just says, hey, no mercy, and just continues to air it out and totally destroy Dallas. Is this a home game for Dallas too? It is, right? Yeah.
Yep. We almost went to this one until Dak broke his leg off, so we decided not to go. Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh, they're all starts of the week, the entire team.
Yeah, my only concern is, like, you look at the line here. The line is Steelers by 14, which is that's a drastic line for Vegas.
I totally agree. The Cowboys haven't lost by that many points in weeks.
Without that.
Oh, wait, they have 4 3
but no,
weeks.
I mean,
yeah, I don't know how.
I think you're only like a realistic concern is what Ashton is saying. Like, what if they get up big early, like, and they just kind of lay off the passing game, and you get just a mediocre game from Ben, or you actually get one of those games like a 15, 14-point game from Ben and some of these wide receivers, just because they don't need to throw the ball anymore. I think that's where a realistic concern can be.
That's what Ben's been giving you anyways.
I think that's going to be about 3 or 4 touchdowns down the road. I think they're at least going to have 3 or 4 touchdowns before they get to just running old James Conner all over the place, and Benny Snell maybe even bringing McFarlane. Hey, come on out here. This is going to be real fun for you, buddy. But I will say the Cowboys defense did look a lot better last week. So just pray for the offense,
That's fair.
All right, we can skip right over the Dallas Cowboys team.
Well, no, I mean, there's some question marks with Dallas, right? Like, we're going to have another different backup quarterback for Dallas. We don't know if it's going to be Cooper Rush or Garrett Gilbert.
Well, I can guarantee you will not start him.
But, I mean, the point is there is going to be another quarterback under center. This offense is going to look completely different again. But I think the only one that you're realistically, or I guess you can potentially consider two guys here, Zeke and Amari Cooper, right? Like Amari Cooper has produced games. I know the best of them were with Dak, but I mean, he produced games with Dalton before he went out. And Cooper, he's a super talented player. It's a terrible matchup for him. And he's drafted super high as well as Zeke. So what do you do with those two guys this week?
I'd throw Dalton Schultz in the mix, honestly. He was my start of the week last week, and I would say he hit, honestly. He had 8.3 points. That's not nothing for a tight end, okay, guys? In that matchup, and Ben DiNucci, who knew what he was going to do? You're throwing sidearm passes like not Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean?
Johnson.
I would say he's with the tight end landscape. He's always a consideration. With Cooper Rush, I literally have no idea what's going to happen, but I would have to imagine that Amari Cooper is always going to be the number one. But like I said, Dalton Schultz could be that safety valve, and I'm always starting Zeke because I love him.
How much do you love him? We'll talk later. Okay. I think at this point, 12 team leagues, you could probably drop Gallup. I mean, he's not bringing anything to the table.
He's gone.
Lamb is, I hate to say it, but he's right on the verge there too. And
I'd have to keep him just because he's the slot receiver, and I hope things can get better.
Yeah, I have.
But he's right there. He's like one butt cheek on the bench, the other butt cheek is off the bench. So that's kind of where I'm at on that.
Yeah,
Stefen, why don't you give us your take on the Cowboys since you haven't had too much to say?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty aware here that I'm obviously a big Cowboys fan, but I'm also a realist here in what's going on in Dallas.
That's not what we wanted to hear.
I mean, I'm trying to be unbiased in my opinion here of these options. And if I had any of these guys, fortunately enough, as of right now, I don't have any more Cowboys players except for CeeDee Lamb and Dak on my IR and Dynasty for better years. But if I have any of them, I would honestly recommend to hopefully find someone else to play. I think there's maybe some better waiver wire players or your backup running backs to play over Zeke this week, just because it's tough, man. I would like to find someone else if possible.
It's hard to bench Zeke. That's the problem.
Yep. All right,
let's get out of there. Keep giving me 5 points or less, and I won't have a problem with it moving forward. But
has he given you a 5-point game yet?
Nah, of course he hasn't.
I don't think it's been that long. It's been bad. 8, 5.6 and 7.8. I mean, it's not great. Not what you're looking for.
Not.
Might as well be 2. Might as well be 2 points.
All right, let's move on to the next one, though. We have New Orleans taking on Tampa Bay. Again, we've seen this matchup. This is Breeze v. Brady. Breeze got the win last time, but this is going to be two different teams because we're looking to see Michael Thomas hopefully back, and I don't know what you call it, but the return of Antonio Brown. So let's start on New Orleans. With Michael, we've had this conversation, I feel like multiple weeks in a row now, but with Michael Thomas hopefully returning, where do we gauge Drew Brees in this matchup? Is he still someone that you're going to consider starting in this matchup or no?
Not for me. I don't want any part of this Tampa Bay defense. Even if Thomas is back, I think Thomas is going to have a good week, but it's really just slim pickings. I don't know if Sanders back this week. Do we know that?
I think he is, but I don't think he's a smart play this week.
Yeah. I'm talking about opening things up for Breeze, but yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna be just a Kamara, Cook, and Thomas game.
Latavius Murray could be a factor in this game as well.
It's just a tough run defense, so I don't want to. I don't want to bet on them splitting up enough points, if that makes sense. with Tampa Bay and being a top rush defense, and Kamara's going to be out there balling out as he should, as the number 1 running back on the year. He's on my team, and I like him.
I don't know if that's a real take, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Number one, it's statistically.
No, I'm saying that because you like him. But yeah, I think Drew Brees is fine to play. I mean, he's been fine the last couple of weeks. He
had a good game last week.
I mean, if you're into fine things and not
look, I mean, he went up against another
sure.
terrible matchup in Chicago last week. Put up 19 points, 23 points the week before.
Because they went to OT. Points. That's the only reason, dude.
Yeah, 23 points against Carolina, 21 points against the Chargers. Like he's giving you good games for a quarterback. He's going to get his best option.
I just don't trust him. Okay, I don't trust him.
I think he's a fine play. I know this isn't
okay. How fine do you think he is this week?
I think he's fine. What do you mean?
You think he's top 12? That's what I would define as top.
I think he's top
12.
He's
not top 12. I'm going to guarantee he's not top 12.
Top 12.
Let's bet. Let's put that on.
All right, give it to me.
Put it on the board. Write it down this time, and don't forget, because last time you tried to jip me out of some chicken strips.
Not trying to jip you out of.
What's the bet? Are we back on chicken strips, or what do you want? You're proposing this.
Yeah, I want some chicken strips because I had to give them away.
I got to have them. I got to have 2 sets of them. Okay, cool.
All right. Let's talk about. We think Thomas is back in play if he plays, obviously. So let's go to the Tampa Bay side. I think this is where you have a little bit more questions. Brady's been on a tear, but with this new wide receiver and Antonio Brown now, what happens to these fantasy options with Mike Evans if Chris Godwin plays? Gronk's been good. How do you kind of break down these receiving options for Tampa Bay?
Go ahead, Ashton. I
think they're all
in this.
I think they're all going to get their looks. I mean, Tom Brady's got a lot of love, and he's going to spread it all around. So
love in his heart.
Yep, he's a big-hearted man. You know what I mean? But This will be a fun game. I think it's gonna. I mean, I'm not worried about. I mean, if I'll say this, if Godwin plays, he'll still get his looks. I think AB will be a factor, but that's something we have to just wait and see how they really use him. But I would not be surprised if AB came in there, saw 8 to 10 targets and got a touchdown. You know what I mean? It's Tom Brady, obviously is trying to work and do everything they can to have him become a factor in that offense. I mean, he's living with them. So I don't think he's going to be just a distraction. So I wouldn't be shocked if he either led in targets or was second in targets. I could see Godwin being limited just with his finger.
Yeah, I'm not super excited about Chris Godwin's prospects this week. He had surgery 2 weeks ago.
Well, the only thing is
last I checked, you got to have that thumb and another thumb and your fingers to catch the ball. It's going to probably hurt.
Well, tell that to Jarvis Landry and OBJ, who one-handed and
where's OBJ right now?
Well, he just doesn't. He's not a decent defensive player, and he should have been making those kind of tackles. But whatever.
I agree, but Baker sucks. But
he
anyways,
probably saw a ticket out. So
yeah. So I think Ashton's right. They all are going to get their looks. I think Gronk and Evans might take, not for this week in particular. I think Evans and AB are going to be fine in Gronk this week. I think if anybody starts taking a hit, it'll be Gronk and Evans. But still, I mean, Tom Brady's going to pass it to who's open. And that's just how he is. He's not going to have a favorite. And the Tampa Bay is going to do well.
My concern is in the running game here with.
Yeah, that's the real question.
Fournette and Rojo.
Fournette and Rojo. I tell you, Ronald Jones, he lost me a game last week because he dropped that ball and then Fournette got too much attention. So
do you think that carries into this week against New Orleans?
No, I don't. I think it's going to be Rojo, hopefully from the start. But I mean, you watch those games, it's terrifying. Like Bruce Arians, I think that's ridiculous to coach that way. that just okay, you drop the ball, you do something wrong, like you're done for the game. Basically, that's what it looked like last week. I don't know if you guys watched too much of it. But Rojo was gone after he dropped that ball or he fumbled that ball. It was, I don't know. It's kind of terrifying. And who wants that mentality when you're on the field? Like, oh, I can't make a mistake. I can't make a mistake. Oh, then here comes that mistake, and then it can go both ways. Obviously, I think Rojo is the better runner so far this year, and I think against this team, New Orleans defense hasn't been great this year. I think he'll be fine. Fournette, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about Fournette?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Fournette got more carries than Rojo this week, but I'm with you on an eye test. I think Ronald Jones is the better back, but Bruce Arians can be Bruce Arians sometimes and say, "Look,
I'm sick of it."
Yeah, so you're gonna have to wait and see. But
yeah.
I have Rojo. I think I'm playing him in one of my leagues and then benching him on the other ones. So there are other options.
All right, let's cruise to this last match. I think
let's fly through it. Okay.
The options are pretty easy to go through. We have the New England Patriots taking on the New York Jets in our Monday night matchup. Limited amount of options here. I think Cam Newton is a fine start. Damian Harris can be a flex consideration, and then on the Jets side, Jameis Crowder. That's
whoa. You got no receiving options on New England side?
Nope, that's it.
Jacoby Myers?
Nope, no, that's it.
Wait. Let's look.
No. Let's cruise to it. Those are your only options. Don't worry about anybody else. Let's move over to the starts and sits of the week. We'll start off.
This is what everyone's been waiting for.
We'll start off at the quarterback position with your starts of the week. I'll lead us off here. I'm gonna take the hot-handed rookie Justin Herbert taking on Las Vegas. This guy seems to be the real deal. He's had 20 plus points in every single start except for one, and he's had 250 plus yards in every game, which is a lot more than Mr. Lamar Jackson can say. He's only had one of those.
Dude, don't you dare.
And then he's had 3+ touchdowns in the last 4 games and 4+ touchdowns in 2 of those games. So Justin Herbert's just been on top of the world, and he should be one of those top 5 options probably going forward.
Don't you wish you would have got him in waivers? Anyways, on to my pick. I've got Josh Allen here of the Buffalo Bills. A lot of people are worried about him. They're afraid. They don't believe in him. They don't love him the way I love him. Okay, he's had 4 weeks, not great weeks. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. 2 of the 4 weeks, the weather has not been great. So I'm going to take 2 of those. I'm just going to throw it out. All right. And then the other matchup, I mean, he threw for over 307 yards against the Jets. They just didn't want to catch it and run it into the end zone, which is fine. You know, they won the game. They felt pretty good about it. He's playing the Seahawks, so they've been awful. I think they're 30th in the league, or 31st best at allowing a lot of points to the opposing QBs. I rest my case.
Enough said. What about you, Ashton? Who you got? Quarterback start of the week.
Derek Carr. You shocked?
I like that. You just told me to play him. I'm playing him now. So.
Yeah, I think you'll be okay. Playing against the Chargers. Look, he had a bad week in week 8. I blame weather in that scenario. Derek Carr hasn't been playing bad. I mean, 4 out of the past 6 games, he scored 19 or more points. I mean, one of those was against Kansas City. I mean, I think he's a little underrated this year. And he's been pretty consistent, and he's got a good matchup against the Chargers, who've allowed 5 passing touchdowns in the past 2 games. That includes 1 broken thumb to Gardner Minshew and Drew Lock. So I think he's a safe play. I'm not sleeping on their receiving core. I think they're using them properly. It's just a matter of opportunity. I think they'll get plenty of that this week against the Chargers.
Very nice.
Very nice.
All right, right back at you, Ashton. Who's your running back start of the week?
See, now you got me. Now I got to go up to my notes.
Oh,
It's
That's okay. I'll hop.
I got it. It's
real
Justin
quick.
Jackson.
Oh wow.
I'm going the other way here.
I got him too.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Good
can
job,
switch.
guys.
Hey, man,
I
did you
can
look at my team?
I
You guys
switch it
are
up.
always against each other, and there's nothing that makes me happier than to see you guys both on the same side of one. I'm really happy for you guys.
Oh
And
no,
you
he's not
guys
my star of the
both-
week, but he's on my team. Both these guys are on my team, so I like. Where
Oh, you
Ashton's
scared
going.
me. I was like,
yeah,
wait, I
you-
thought I
you
looked at. I
definitely
thought
scared me there too.
Yeah, you're
thought I
picking
looked at
my
your
liar.
lineups.
And you stop talking now and go ahead, Ashton. Just
All
you
right.
just hop on it.
Oh God. Okay. Well, you're gonna be happy. I
I
think
like
he's got
these picks so far.
You're gonna love this performance.
He's been getting the work. He's clearly the lead back in that Chargers offense right now. So I'm not worried about Joshua Kelly coming in there and taking anything away from him. I think we've put our hope into Justin Jackson before, and we've kind of had to go back and forth with him and Joshua Kelly. But I think he's gonna prove us right this week against Vegas, and have a good turnout. What is it? He's had at least 5 targets and 3. That's the other thing. His passing role. He's gonna have. He's had 5 targets in the last 3 games, 3 in a row actually. And I think that's gonna pick up even more against this Vegas offense or defense.
Very
So
good.
I expect high numbers from him this week.
Like to hear it.
You'll be all right. You'll be okay starting him.
What do you
If
got,
not,
Jacob?
You can buy me chicken nuggets.
Hey, chicken nuggets. I got James Robinson. I talked about it briefly earlier. I won't go too into depth here, as much as Stefen wants me to. They've got the Jaguars have a rookie QB. I think they're gonna run the ball a lot here. James Robinson has been running it well, and Arizona is a pretty much I would say middle of the pack run defense. So I'm expecting a pretty good game out of him. I think they're gonna just lean on the running offense, and he's just gonna do it for him.
That's fair. He's playing Houston, but yeah, I agree.
I mean, he's playing Houston. Sorry. I was looking at something else, and Houston is actually really. That's why I was like middle of the pack. I was like, that doesn't sound right. That's not why I picked this guy. He's playing Houston, who is their back half run defense. I wish you would have corrected me earlier, Stefen, before I
had to
kept
let you
going.
talk, man.
That's okay. Interrupt.
He did have
next
his
time.
worst game. His worst game against Houston earlier in the season, though.
That's all right. I'm not
Does that
worried
worry
about
you? No worries. Okay.
Not at all. No chance.
That's fair. All right. Mine is Chase Edmonds taking on that Dolphins defense that we talked about. We said this is
that's the Cardinals. They're playing Miami.
Right. There you go. Now you're figuring it out. Yep. Yeah. So we talked about Miami's defense as being pretty good, but I think we've seen the Arizona Cardinals fans have been calling for, Chase Edmonds to get more involved. And we've seen it over these last probably 3 or 4 weeks to him have a bigger role in this offense. Now with Kenyon Drake out, you're going to see Chase Edmonds in all of his glory. There's not going to be really anybody competing for those touches. And the weak point of this Miami defense is what they allow to the running backs. They're averaging 24 points a week to the running back position, which isn't great, Bob. So Chase Edmonds, running back start of the week. Jacob, I'll let you lead us off. Who's your wide receiver start of the week? And make it a little snappy for the listeners here.
Okay, I'm gonna really slow this down. Deontay Johnson is, as long as he's healthy, he is playing the Dallas Cowboys.
Thank you. End of sentence. I'll go with mine. I'm gonna go off of Jacob's start of the week quarterback. I'm gonna go with Stephon Diggs taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Diggs has been super reliable in terms of his production, but has only given you one real blow up game this year, which was back in week 2 against that Miami defense we talked about. We gave you 25.3 points. But as Jacob said, the secondary is very, very suspect. So I think this is another 20-plus point week for Stephon Diggs.
Wow.
It's a Brown. Do you want to start? You want to guess which one it was?
None of them. Jarvis Landry?
Turd.
No, not a Cleveland Brown.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
I'll guess Antonio.
Nope.
AJ
AJ Brown.
Nope.
Is there more Browns?
Malcolm.
Keys, Hollywood Brown.
Oh, don't do it, dude. You're gonna disappoint yourself.
I'm gonna fall down this rabbit hole, man, and get myself caught here with
Hey
my foot
man,
in my mouth.
I'm with you, man. I believe in the Ravens this week. I really think Lamar Jackson's gonna pop off.
You
against
believe in that
the
every week. It's not happening.
Just wait until I'm right, though.
I'm gonna
Gonna
take a
have one
gamble and ride on the complaint that has come out of Hollywood Brown
That's-
saying he's not
that
getting enough
squeaky
targets,
wheel.
and hopefully Lamar will answer the call here and look for him. Look, I was really high on Hollywood Brown coming into this season. I do agree he hasn't been getting enough attention, but you know, we've kind of seen how Lamar has taken a step back from the passing game this year and hasn't really. I mean, Miles Boykin was getting more targets than Hollywood Brown, so that's just concerning.
Who caught that touchdown though?
Boykin caught, yeah. So
Who did?
Both got a touchdown.
That's what I meant. Sorry.
So I think this could be an opportunity for Marquise to have a bounce back game, and obviously that would do
And Lamar Jackson too.
Lamar
And
as
he's
well.
gonna score like 50 points.
So that would please
Yeah.
Jacob. So we're both
you.
hoping for the best.
Fair enough. Let's get into our tight end starts of the week. Either of you guys want to take the lead here?
I do.
All right, let's see what you got.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to do this.
You're welcome.
I am taking Noah. Fantastic.
Probably a good thing we didn't give you your first one, isn't it?
I beg your pardon?
So it's probably a good thing we didn't give you your original tight end start of the week, isn't it?
I don't know. What's he done? I haven't seen anything.
He has one catch for 5 yards.
He was gonna be my sit of the week, wasn't he?
Was he? Oh, he
Yes,
was your
he's
sit of the
my
week.
sit of
Oh,
the
good
week.
job, bud. Proud of you.
All right, look,
This-
we'll
this
get
is
to there,
confusing.
everybody. But I basically got rejected because I didn't realize what day it was. But anyways, guys, the Atlanta Falcons, the ever welcoming Atlanta Falcons defense will be allowing Noah Fant to run all over them. And after he's making these catches and running into the end zone, just catching these balls all over the place and just getting touchdowns and basically doing whatever he wants, because the Atlanta Falcons are the worst team in the league against tight ends, and it's going to be a pretty good time for him.
I like that.
Mhm.
Ashton, what about you? Who's your tight end start of the week?
It's Eric Ebron against Dallas.
Just stop picking on us, man.
I can go another way too, but you're not gonna like that one either.
Just go on with there, Ebron. What do you have to say?
You're going to say Vance McDonald?
I could.
I'll take the third start. I'll take the fourth start.
No, he's had 13 targets in the past 2 games. He's been getting a lot of volume. Even though he wasn't targeted within the 20-yard line last week, he still found the end zone. I think he's going to be a solid play against a pretty poor Dallas defense. So I would consider him a tight end 1 this week for sure.
A little harsh, but okay.
So nice. My tight end start of the week is Evan Ingram. We've seen over these last 2 weeks that he's getting more involved. He got 9 targets and 10 targets over the last 2 weeks, and he's getting carries as well, which is they just want him to touch the ball, which is what you like to see. You want to see that opportunity, and he's taking on your Washington football team, Ashton. So you pick on me, I pick on you.
Sure.
So
Ooh.
I think this is going to be a competitive game, and they're going to have to get Ingram involved if they want to have a chance to move the ball. So Evan Ingram, tight end start of the week. All right, to wrap it up, let's move into our sits of the week. We'll start it off at the quarterback position. Either you guys want to take quarterback first? Great, I will. All right,
Okay.
my quarterback.
Here we go.
Go ahead.
My quarterback sit of the week is Lamar Jackson. Taking
You
on
son of a...
Taking on the
ahead.
Colts. We've talked about it before. This Colts defense is very good. They've been very good all year. And I know with these big name guys like Lamar Jackson, it's a tough move on you to bench them. So I think this is the week that you want to, though. This is a terrible matchup. We saw it last week that when Lamar Jackson has a tough matchup, it's not good for him. He struggled against Pittsburgh, and I think he'll continue to struggle against the Colts. We kind of have to see his season in a whole right now. 4 out of the 7 games, he's put up 17 points or less. And the 3 games which he scored more than 17 were Philadelphia, Washington, and Cleveland, which are all bottom of the pack defenses. So with a tough matchup, I think you look for a better option. You sit Lamar Jackson.
I will agree with your points, and I will do the complete opposite. But anyways, I'll go ahead and hop in here with my QB set of the week, and that is Tua T, Miami QB. I'm not looking forward to what's going to happen there. Wasn't excited about what happened this past week. And I'm not ready to throw him out there against a Cardinals defense that hasn't been too bad.
Very nice. Very in-depth analysis.
Hot take.
Very hot.
I got Phillip Rivers as my sit of the week. He's coming off 2 really good games. Right before the bye in week 6, he played Cincinnati, put up 24.7 points, and then came back after the bye, played Detroit, put up 22 points. But he has a very tough matchup against Baltimore this week. It's a lot of it's just solely on the opponent here. Baltimore's just too tough, and I don't think Phillip's going to be able to have answers for that. I think if Phillip was able to be more of a mobile quarterback, then that might be a little bit more of a resolution there, but he's not. He's older and he's not mobile. So this is going to be a tough matchup. Plus his receiving core is just straight whack at this point. And they're going to have to rely on other options here. And I think Baltimore is just going to rush him as much as possible. So I would avoid Phillip Rivers and avoid what you've seen in the past 2 weeks, because that's not going to repeat itself this week.
I didn't know you guys were on such a first name basis, but
we are. Philly.
Good guy. He's a good guy.
old PR there.
All right, running back sets of the week. Who do you guys got?
You're not gonna like it.
I'm gonna hear it though. See what you got.
Todd Gurley, man. Not excited about his prospects this week. There is the chance that he will fall into the end zone, but outside of that, Denver has been elite when stopping the run. Definitely top run defense. They've slowed down a lot of people with the likes of Derrick Henry, and I'm not looking at their schedule, so I can't say the others, but I'm not looking forward to Todd Gurley having a good week, because he will not. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very kind.
You want me to go now?
Go ahead, Ashton.
I do. I want to hear what you have to say. I don't really care about Stefen.
I'm going Ronald Jones here.
First names.
Yeah.
I said Ronald Jones.
He said Ronald at first. Ronald McDonald.
We kind of touched base on this a little bit earlier. With Fournette coming back in and kind of took over the role, and Bruce Arians appearing to be iffy on Ronald Jones right now, it's just a tough play. Plus, I think they're going to be relying way more on the passing game here. And Ronald Jones didn't perform that well when they played New Orleans in week 1. I'm just a little cautious with him. I still have him on my team. I'm going to be benching him, but it's a tough matchup now against New Orleans, and I don't particularly like this setup, so I would avoid Ronald Jones.
I like that audio.
Came off a bad week. I'd wait and see how it goes before putting him back in your lineup.
Very nice.
Whatever.
Mine is Ezekiel Elliott versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Don't you dare. How are you going to do this?
We went into it a little bit earlier, but with the 3 games that Dak has been out, Zeke hasn't looked great. All games, 8 points or under, which is not what you're looking for out of Zeke. And this Cowboys offense just can't get the ball moving. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the 3rd best defense against the running back position. And with an offense that can't move the ball, that's not what you want to see. So Zeke is my sit of the week. All right, let's move over to the wide receiver position. Wide receiver sits of the week. I'll continue on with my rant here.
Thank you.
Mine is A.J. Brown versus Chicago. And A.J. Brown's been fantastic. I mean, ever since he's gotten back onto the field and been healthy, he's given you great weeks. But last week we saw he was saved by that fourth quarter touchdown. Didn't have a ton of yards, didn't have a ton of receptions. And the Chicago defense and Chicago secondary in general has been great. They've been shutting down number one wide receivers all over the place. So A.J. Brown, my wide receivers of the week.
Well, I don't like that one, and I have a better one. And Ashton's going to agree with me.
Okay.
Because they're playing his beloved Washington football team.
Oh, nice.
It's Darius Slayton. People have already kind of it's been trending down for Darius Slayton after we kind of had a hot start with Sterling Shepard not being there. I think it's becoming pretty clear that Sterling Shepard's kind of been the guy. Darius Slayton he's on the outs, basically, is what they're telling me. He's kind of stretching the field. And the Washington football team, Stefen may not agree with this. I know Ashton will. They just are elite secondary. They're really just they're just stopping everybody out there, and they're allowing the least amount of fantasy points to wide receivers. I don't know if it's because their secondary is good, and I don't care. Okay, but Darius Slayton, I'm not expecting him to have a good week this week. Thank you,
Of course.
and good night.
Allison, who you got?
Amari Cooper.
You just keep picking on us, man.
Oh, and I'm not done yet either.
Oh, no.
You can't name them all, man.
I will.
I think
I will name every
we're
single one.
pretty close. If
And
Ben
you- and
DiNucci
you-
was starting,
And you took Zeke. I would have chosen Zeke too. So, look, I mean, he put up 1 point against Philly,
Let's just keep going.
and now he's playing the Steelers. I mean, I could say more, but I really don't think I have to.
You do not.
I
You
mean,
get it, dude.
We get it, man.
they're just
It
a
hurts
hot
him.
mess. No
Yep.
Andy Dalton. Then you bench Ben DiNucci.
Stefan,
Now you're
did
bringing
you do
in
yours yet?
Cooper Rush or who's the other guy? Gilbert. I mean, this is atrocious, dude. This is a
Garrett
mess.
Gilbert's a real deal, dude. The
Is he?
AFL?
We'll
Did you see
see.
him in the AFL?
All right.
He's the leading quarterback, dude.
Did they play the Steelers in the AFL? I don't know.
They play their farm team.
Oh, their farm team. Okay. And cool. Well,
school.
we'll see. But I would strongly suggest avoiding Amari Cooper. I mean, I hate to say it because he is Amari Cooper and he is a great receiver, but he's not going to be worth anything this week.
Would you say to avoid all Dallas wide receivers or Amari Cooper,
Oh,
especially
all-
because that's kind of what I'm getting, that you're really
All
targeting
wide
him.
receivers. Yeah.
But you
Anything
love
Dallas
Dallas.
at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay
Okay,
with.
thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry,
All right.
Amari.
Should I just carry into my? Oh, you gotta go.
Let's wrap it up with our tight end sets of the week. Ash, we'll just let you get it out of the way.
Okay, thank you.
You can wrap it up here. Who you got?
I mean, it's Dalton Schultz.
Okay,
but-
all right.
okay.
So for me,
Moving on.
Yeah, it's the same analysis.
I was actually gonna choose Robert Tunyon, the Onion. Stefan reminded me of what day it was, and that by the time you were hearing this podcast, the Thursday night football game will be completed, and Robert Tunyon, the Onion, has already played and had a terrible game, as I predicted beforehand. I will let you know that.
Watch, it's not over yet. Watch him get a touchdown now.
Guys, I just
That's
want to
okay.
go back to Dalton Schultz real quick. I just had some stats that I wanted to make sure our
Yeah,
listeners
so
were aware of.
who I did decide to pick was just Trey Burton.
You did that last week, dude.
And I'm going back to it.
It didn't work out.
That's neither here nor there. Basically, he's playing the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, been a great defense overall, and I expect them to dominate the Colts, and they're going to come out victorious here. The Ravens, not the Colts.
Oh,
The Ravens are going to win the game.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson's going to have a great game,
okay.
and they're going to be the winning team, the Ravens,
Okay. Great. Very
with
nice.
allowing a low amount of points to the Colts, who is their opponent, which is who Trey Burton plays for.
Very nice. I'm gonna end it on the one that's gonna make Ashton very sad and hopefully cry himself to sleep tonight.
No,
Mine is Rob Gronkowski making his way back to our sits of the week. We love to see him here. This is my favorite place to see him every week. But he's taking on the New Orleans Saints, and this isn't necessarily a shot at Gronk because I mean he's been good the last 3 weeks. He's
I think
running
this is a
and
shot at Ashton directly,
getting the
right to the
connection.
heart.
back again with TB. But look, there's a lot of uncertainty in what we're going to see this week with Tampa Bay and going forward. Like we said, Antonio Brown is going to make his first appearance. Chris Godwin can still play. So if you have all 4 options, I just don't think there's enough looks to go around for Gronk. I think Gronk is the odd man out. He's the least talented of the 4.
How dare you?
It's very
How
clear.
dare
It's very
you?
clear.
That
It's-
is an insult.
That's
That's not cool.
That's just true as true
That's
can
not
be.
talent. That's not, you can't compare that. These are different positions we're talking about here. He's the top 5 tight end of all time.
I bet he gets a touchdown this week.
And he's been getting touchdowns, but
He's good at that.
This is it. This is it. I think it's just it's a risky play. I mean, he could.
Will you guarantee that he's not going to have a touchdown this week?
I'm not going to guarantee.
Will you condemn him having a touchdown this week?
You just said don't start him.
Well, Jacob guaranteed a Le'Veon Bell touchdown last week. And where did that come?
Gronk-
that was
Gronk
the
was
revenge
gonna
game
be
that
my
never
start-
happened.
Gronk was going to be my start of the week, but I didn't want
Well,
to
he
hear
wasn't. Okay,
Okay,
so he's
okay.
my set of the week. I just think it's you have to be cautious with what we're going to see here. It's the uncertainty that makes him my set of the week. But hey, who knows? Maybe after this week we'll see that Gronk is still a playable asset.
Still a top 10 tight end.
You will
Okay.
eat your
It's not
words,
hard to be top
Stefen.
10.
You will eat them.
Not when you're Gronk. You're right.
No, when you're any tight end that starts, it's not hard to be a top 10.
Sure.
All
sure.
right. Well, that wraps it up for our week 9 podcast. Is there anything else you guys want to add to the listeners before we wrap it up? You want to give them a little bit of our social media breakdown? Jacob, you go ahead and take it.
You can find us anywhere you could possibly think to find us. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. That's basically kind of the social media areas we like to
Snapchat.
Our personal addresses are.
P.O. Box.
and also you can find us on all the major podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. And I think that's pretty much all we have tonight. Stefen, did you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
I'm not asking you, Ashton.
Sorry. That's why I stayed quiet.
Make sure you bench Gronk.
Watch the video. We're on YouTube as well.